more than 5,000 euro for two-way tickets. And here is what I've got. I'm in Doha, in Qatar, in the midnight, flying back from Japan to Berlin, and I accidentally fly business class with Qatar Airlines, and right now I'm not sure if I'm happy about it or not, but let me share the whole story. Let's start from the beginning. My long-awaited trip to Japan was my very first time ever long flight. That is the benefit of living in Berlin, where so many beautiful places are reachable within just few hours flight. But Japan is the whole other story, another side of the continent, so I decided to experience the business class benefits for this trip. I booked my trip Berlin, Tokyo, and Osaka back to Berlin with Finnair and was patiently waiting for the day to come. And despite my overall excitement, it started from the trap. The day before my trip started, I've received an email that the construction work will take place in Helsinki airport right during the time of my transfer there. So the whole flight was cancelled. In an hour, I received another email with the new plan to reach Tokyo with the stop in Amsterdam. There were minor time adjustments, so I had to departure 2 hours earlier than my initial plan, but it also meant I'll land 2 hours earlier in Japan. For a friend who had booked the same flight but economy class, the situation was way more dramatic. They rescheduled the ticket to 23 hours fly with 2 stops instead of original 17 hours fly with just 1 stop in Helsinki. So that was my very first moment realizing that actually business class tickets has hidden benefits that I haven't think about. So the next day, my flight to Tokyo was smooth, and the transfer time was rather short. But hence my luggage was marked with priority label. It got on the next board on time. So together with other business class passengers, we've got early access to airplane, and while the rest was on boarding, I was already offered with some drinks and little snacks right away. So let me give you a small tour of how my business class looks like in my trip to Japan with KLM. So I do have the separations so people are passing by don't really disturb me. I have a screen. So here is the space. That's how I'm going to convert the seating into a lane with the manipulation on this board panel. And I have some space to hold my stuff. I also got menu to check on. I have a blanket, I have noise cancelling headset. And also here is the space available for some storage. And for someone to look at yourself. Also the remote control and this small touch of convenience lights to feel like I'm sitting on my couch at home. The rest was absolutely lovely. Flight attendants were pleasant. You got all the necessary attention and high-end services you need while flying. And of course, I was already preparing myself for the next 2 weeks to follow. That was actually the present that I gave myself for my birthday that I was celebrating right in the middle of the trip. The joy of doing nothing. At least nothing serious. Just exploring, tasting, observing, and immersing the whole new world that was so different to what I've seen before. It's 1.5 weeks in Japan, and I feel it's so much to see here. And yeah, still exploring, and a few days more to see more places. But accepting the fact I cannot see everything. And after 2 exciting weeks in Tokyo, Kyoto, and Osaka, that was time to go back home. And this time I sarcastically assumed that something will go wrong again with my flight, and apparently it did. The day prior to the flight, I've done the check-in procedure, and again, all of a sudden, without much explanation, I received a letter that my flight with Finnair has been cancelled and rebooked. So now I fly with Qatar Airlines. I've got disappointed. Really. Because instead of 17 hours, I've got to spend more than 21 hours in total to get from Osaka back home to Berlin. Yes, I know that Qatar Airlines are known as one of the best airlines, with an absolutely amazing airport in Doha. So I've got a chance to check it by myself. And first it started with a long queue on the registration desk. So business class ticket didn't really provided me a quick access to drop my luggage. So I had to stand in a long waiting line. And at the registration desk, I received a fast line ticket for security check and airport lounge area. And since I had more than an hour, I headed straight away to the lounge zone. And to be fully transparent with you, I've immediately observed the significant difference between the airport and the lounge zone. It was silence. Going through the airport duty-free area, I saw hundreds of people sneaking around and entertaining themselves with the final shopping before departure. Meanwhile, in the lounge area, it was all about privacy. It was pretty full, but still relatively quiet. And this experience highlighted me again what is the difference between people who have money and people who have a lot of money. Wealthy people don't need entertainment 24/7. They appreciate the time to relax or work on something instead of staying in overwhelming noisy area and filling in the time with quick dopamine. After a pleasant stay in lounge area and arriving to my gate, where I have been sitting as a priority passenger again, I had already enjoyed the time while airplane was onboarding. It took longer than expected, and the flight actually was delayed in an hour. So my transfer in Doha obviously got shortened. But it's the right time for me to compare business class of Qatar and KLM Airlines to count which one is actually better. So here's what I've observed. Qatar had way more comfortable nest with additional mattress, bed sheets, cozy blanket, and 3 pillows. Qatar also provided me a free choice of the seat I want without extra charge. Meanwhile, Finnair and KLM charge for this single service. Qatar provided the passengers with the diptyque skincare set that looks good and smells even better. Additional to that, I've received a cotton pyjama flying with Qatar Airlines. Dental kit, razor, and other moisturizing products were available on demand provided by Qatar. KLM had smaller variety, I have to admit. Food quality was good. I would say KLM got it even better as per my taste. Well-organized space I had all the time was very handy wireless charger, mirror, and the light for reading. 1 out of 2 flights, both for Qatar and KLM, had the nest without sliding door, but with Qatar it was even more difficult to sleep in this condition because that was 11 hours flight. Both airlines provided a noise cancelling headset, slipper, sleeping mask, and socks, bottle of water, and great choice of movie. And KLM definitely got the point because of the shorter traveling time. It was 1 hour fly Berlin, Amsterdam, and 13 hours fly Amsterdam, Tokyo. Meanwhile, on my way back, the flight Osaka-Doha took 11 hours plus 1 hour delay, and also Doha-Berlin was another 6 hours flight with a transfer in the midnight. And by the way, my transfer in Doha was in hurry because of the previous flight delay, so I didn't have much time to enjoy one of the greatest airports in the world. But what I enjoyed, it was the priority load of my luggage, despite the very short time frame and significant distance between 2 airplanes. But it was all well managed and arrived back to Berlin, so I could quickly pick up my suitcase without any problem. And with that, my whole business class travel has been completed. For 2-way tickets, I have been charged 5,514 euro. And do I regret paying this much money just for the tickets? Absolutely no. I assume if I would book Qatar Airlines directly, it would be even more expensive trip for me. But I accidentally got one of the best airlines business class for less money. I've got up to 3 luggage for drop available plus 2 carry-on cabin luggage. And to be honest, traveling to Japan, it seemed like a big advantage for me as well. I also experienced whenever it was possible the fast line and very much appreciated the privilege to have the privacy and sleep over the long way to and back from Japan. I'm happy I've done this and spent money for the new experience, basically. And the next time you see me overseas, be sure I fly business class. Because now I understand that business class for long distance flight is not a luxury, it's rather a financial decision to pay with your money instead of your time. And this financial decision allowed me to make my long awaiting trip more pleasant and enjoy the country since the day one without spending much time on recovery and provided me with the level of comfort whenever it was possible. And that's the whole story. Let's see each other in my next episode. Take care and see you. Bye bye.